I like to begin these get-togethers by saying that the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center's Something to Talk About programs are sponsored by Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island. Fieldstone offers independent living and assisted living and memory care up on Rolling Bay. And you can find out more about their programs by calling 360-689-4314. And they're on the verge of opening up the assisted and independent living. And I think you can even schedule tours of those buildings now as well. They have day stay and respite programs as well. I'd also like to acknowledge that we are on the land, which is the ancestral territory of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people, the people of the clear salt water, the Suquamish people. They're expert fishermen, canoe builders, and basket weavers. The Squabs live in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's central Salish Sea and have for thousands of years. We honor them and we are grateful for their hospitality. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about a program to help unemployed seniors get reemployed. And Matt King from AARP is here to lay out the elements of this program for us. Thank you very much for coming today, Matt.
Well, you bet. And as I said earlier, thank you very much for the opportunity and the time today to chat a little bit with you all about our Senior Community Service Employment Program.
Senior Employment Security.
We often call it CSEP for short because it is such a mouthful. So it's the Senior Community Service Employment Program. And I will refer to it as CSEP for short because it is quite a mouthful. So the goal of CSEP is to help seniors, as Reed said, who have low incomes to prepare for and secure employment. And the way that we do that is by assigning our program participants to local not-for-profit or government organizations that we refer to as host agencies for paid training. And that paid training comes in the form of on-the-job training. And I want to be clear, it's not a job, it is a training program, but I refer to it as an on-the-job training program because that's how the training is delivered. It's basically participants working side by side with the paid staff of their host agencies and learning by doing. So in that way, although it's not a job, it is sort of an on-the-job training model. Bainbridge Island Senior Center is one of our newer host agencies. I think, Reed, you took on your first participant, I guess, was it last fall, maybe 6 or 9 months ago?
Yeah, and it's worked out beautifully. And I understand that the program has been expanding recently as well.
Indeed. So we actually had not enrolled anybody new in Kitsap County for quite a long time. Just because we had all of our, full. We were fully enrolled in Kitsap County. We recently had a couple openings come up, so we're now again able to enroll new participants in Kitsap County, which is why I got in touch with Reed and asked if he could help us get the word out. So again, I really appreciate that we get to do that today. We do have other host agencies around Kitsap County too. In addition to Bainbridge Island Senior Center, Islandwood is actually one of our brand new host agencies. They signed up a few months ago during this period when we couldn't enroll new participants. They are hoping to get some new participants, specifically to work at their front desk and kind of do some clerical and administrative tasks there. Some of our other host agencies around Kitsap County include Fishline over in Paulsbo, the Central Kitsap Food Bank in Silverdale. Sorry for looking away. I did make myself a little list. The United Way office in Bremerton and the Division on Aging in Port Orchard. So all of those are host agencies where we have assigned our participants to do this paid on-the-job training.
So I know that there's a lot of variety. You mentioned office and clerical work, and Vicki, who's here, is doing a lot of support for the front desk staff and similar work. But I talked with another agency in King County, I believe, and they have folks helping out in a thrift store. So that's kind of a retail environment, and maybe some kitchen work in some areas. So there are a variety of opportunities depending on where you live and what the agencies are that are participating, right?
That's absolutely right. So we partner with many host agencies across all the counties that we serve: King County, Kitsap County, others out on the peninsula, the Olympic Peninsula, and they are, many are food banks, thrift stores, senior centers, social service agencies. So there is a wide variety of opportunities available. Reed, you mentioned kitchen work. We work with a couple of food banks that also have meal programs, and also with senior centers that serve. So yes, we do have participants who are working in kitchens and doing all sorts of things at all those different host agencies that I mentioned. Our participants are paid minimum wage for the time they spend training at their host agencies. Typically, that's 18 to 20 hours per week. Right now, it can vary a little bit during the year based on just our budget and how many participants we have enrolled at any given time. Currently, our participants are working 20 hours per week at their host agencies, although it can vary between 18 and 20. When we refer a participant who we've enrolled to a host agency, they interview them and kind of come up with a schedule for those 18 to 20 hours. So we'll tell you how many hours a person can do, but the schedule, what particular days and times of day somebody works at their host agency is really between them and their host agency to work out, so that it's convenient for the host agency and the participant. And then they also develop what we call a training assignment description, kind of like a job description that details what the training. Participants get paid every 2 weeks by direct deposit or a pay card if they don't have a bank account. And we have employment specialists who work in our office to also assist participants in the program in seeking regular unsubsidized employment after their trainings. So that in a nutshell is pretty much how it works.
So if I am living in Kitsap County and there are no openings, there are though right now, but if there weren't, would I be eligible to apply to a program in an adjoining county or not? And how would I go about making it clear that I was interested in taking advantage of this program?
So the best way to let us know if you're interested in our program is very simple. It's call our office, and I'll give you the number now in case you want to write it down, and people who tune in later to the recording can do the same. So our office number is 206-624-6698. Our office is actually located in King County in Kent, but we serve participants in many counties all across Western Washington, as I mentioned earlier, and as we mentioned as well. And in order to enroll in the program, you never need to come over to Kent. We could do everything we need to do either electronically, over the phone, and through the mail to get a person enrolled in the program and assigned to a host agency. And then we come out and visit each of our host agencies each year. Sometimes that's the only time we meet our participants face to face. When necessary, we'll make a trip out to the peninsula if there's something that we need to get signed or something like that that has some urgency to it. But typically we can do the whole process remote. As far as serving other nearby counties, we do also serve Clallam County, Jefferson County, Grays Harbor County. So we do serve a number of other counties around Kitsap County and of course King County. So when currently we can enroll people in any of those counties except King County. King County is the only one where we're currently full up. So if there were people who were interested in participating in, say, Clallam County or Jefferson County, we do have openings for that.
But they need not. But they need not live in Clallam. Let's say if I live in North Kitsap County, I might be able to apply for a position, a training position in Clallam, or do I have to apply in the county I reside?
You'd apply in the county where you reside, but that doesn't mean if you wanted to drive up to Sequim every day and participate as a participant there, you could certainly do that. They have a lovely art museum up there, Art and History Museum, where we actually have 3 participants currently working.
Okay, I'm thinking, you know, if you are looking at trying to get back into the workplace, one of the great
Mhm.
advantages of this program is that then you have a recommendation, and you have
Absolutely.
and you have a history of you know, showing up to work every day and how you worked with other people. Sheila, yes, you had a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do have a question. How often would it be a possibility that a person would be able to do any of the training and or the work from home?
That's a great question. So all of our assignments are in person at a host agency. We don't provide remote assignments. Participants also have to be unemployed to qualify. So if a person were doing some kind of working at home for pay in addition, they would actually, that would end their eligibility. Once a person becomes employed, they're no longer eligible for CSEP.
And so you mentioned that if you're enrolled in this program, in addition to being able to have job experience and the kind of things I was just talking about, you also offer support for somebody looking for a permanent position.
Absolutely. So you did a great, you're a good salesperson. You do well talking about our program, and I appreciate that. I think that many of the things that people gain by being in our program, I mean, it's all about serving the community, getting paid for your time to do it, and developing those kinds of skills that you were talking about. It's a great way to build up a work history. Again, if you've been out of work for a while, haven't been in the job market, you're taking your first steps back into it, this is a great way to gain some experience and some positive references and work history that you can take with you to your next employer, and that will be helpful in your job search. The people in our office who work with our participants, we call them employment specialists. So they are the ones who first help a participant apply to the program, get enrolled, get assigned to a host agency, and then kind of stay in touch with them during their assignment at a host agency, and who provide that assistance in looking for regular unsubsidized jobs. So they can help you polish up your resume, point you in the right direction for places to look for job openings, practice interviewing skills, all those kinds of things. I should also say for Sheila's benefit that while a person can't participate in CSEP and work for pay at home at the same time, we do have participants who are kind of participating in other kinds of training at home. So what I mean is, for example, many are doing online computer skills classes through Goodwill or other providers like that that they do at home to complement and further develop the skills they're learning at their host agencies. And that works out great.
So I just want to shift a little bit to the host agency perspective. Are you in the market for agencies who are looking to offer this kind of a program?
Absolutely. And so as Reed mentioned, kind of alluded to a moment ago, I personally am going to be moving on from this position soon, but we here at AARP Foundation are always welcoming potential new host agencies. So if anybody who's on the phone now or listens to this in the future, if you've got a nearby agency where you'd like to be placed, and they're not currently a host agency with us, we'd love to get in touch with them and see if they're interested in signing up to become a host agency. I've been doing this job 3.5 years now. I've probably enrolled 30 or 40 new host agencies, and I would, just guesstimate that probably half of those were actually referrals from participants who said, hey, I used to volunteer at this organization and I'd love to go back there. Are they your host agency? And I've had to say, no, they're not, but I'd love to sign them up if they're interested, and I have. As a matter of fact, Bainbridge Island's Senior Center just became, as I mentioned earlier, a host agency not that long ago, and it was because we had a participant who moved to Bainbridge Island and was looking for something closer to home. And she and I were both looking, okay, what's there? And I got in touch with Reed, and Reed was interested and became a new host agency. So yes, certainly if you're aware of a host agency, or a nonprofit agency that's in your neighborhood that you think might be interested in becoming a host agency, we welcome that very much.
And I'll just say that my recollection is that, and this is certainly true with our current trainee is that it's a position that we did not currently have. It's not an open paid position that we would normally do, but it fits into the work that we do. And so it's not replacing a hired position. It's allowing us to get a little more support and the trainee to get an opportunity. Now, obviously, if we find that things are working really well and we want to, we can convert that and into a paid position and make a hire.
Yeah, so oftentimes our participants do end up getting hired at their host agencies. We probably, in the last year, I'd say we've had a dozen or more participants who got hired by their host agencies. One example actually is at Fishline up in Paulsbo. We had a participant assigned there working in their thrift store, the second season thrift store. She trained with them for probably about a year, and then they had an opening and they hired her. And so that happens frequently. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not an expectation that we have, but we sure love it when it does happen. And also, as Reed mentioned, the goal is not to displace anybody. So it is not, we're not helping nonprofit agencies save money by assigning them our folks so that they don't have to hire staff. It's like, we've got to hire staff. We're great professionals doing great work. How could an extra pair of hands help support them in doing that great work? So it's meaningful work and important work without replacing the work of somebody who might be a paid staff.
Sue, do you have anything you'd like to ask or talk about here?
I'm just listening, trying to learn. I lost my job and am looking, so.
Yeah, well, one of the things I think is kind of interesting about this is that when I lost my job, I was grateful for an opportunity to find an alternative or another thing to do in addition to the frustrating employment security experience.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
I've been through that experience too, and I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So this is another something to put in the menu of things we might be able to do. So the number is 206-264-66.
624.
Oh, 206-624-6698.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't want to give out a bad number.
I hope I didn't say it that way the first
No, I
time.
think I wrote it down right.
No. Yeah.
We got it.
Yes, that is the number, and anybody who answers the phone in our office can do a quick little pre-screening. And then the next step would be a phone call. We do like an informational little conference call. You already now will know most of the information we talk about in those conference calls. And then an applicant gets assigned to work with an employment specialist to go through the eligibility paperwork and get enrolled and referred to a host agency. So I hope anybody who's there who's online today or listening to the recording in the future, please know we're here to help, and we'd love to hear from you.